What's up, YouTube? JR Juggernaut1 here, and welcome to the Weekly Meta Discussion, Episode 3. Today I'm going to be talking about Worlds and sort of my current thoughts on like the upcoming format, what I plan to do with it. Well, we've basically gotten to the point where the most important tournaments are out of the way. All that are left for now, before the format ends, are a few regionals between this week and next weekend. There's like a bunch that are going on. I'm actually going to one at King's Games tomorrow. I'm very excited to go there just because I have a few friends judging. I've never been there before, and I haven't gone to a regional in a long time. And plus, after this, I'm not going to be able to compete in any regionals for a while because I'm going back to school, and I'll basically be not playing Yu-Gi-Oh for the next few months, and I might even have to cut back on the videos for the first month so I can prepare for my LSAT more. But regardless, I will tell you I will get into a little bit of that with King's Games Regional, later in the video. Let's talk about Worlds first. So Worlds was interesting because, well, first thing that was obviously interesting, no Americans made it to day 2 of it. Really disappointing, I think, because a lot of people wanted to believe that these guys were like some of the best and really deserved to be here, and they did earn their spots, but I think people wanted to like see them hold their own and do well in spite of I think they wanted to see people do well in spite of what seemed like their like lack of qualification for it for this event, but and regardless, regardless, it's like they still they still tried their best. They didn't. None of them came out on top. 2 of them came close. Thomas Mack and William Pettigo both managed to go X2, while the rest of the Americans, or I should say North Americans, went X3. Sad, but I think what kind of bothered me more about this was I kept hearing, I heard a lot of accusations of cheating on the part of the champion. Apparently, well, these were 2 things. One, I heard the guy stacked a lot, which was like, I was just so annoyed because I expect better from this level of competition. If you're going to stack and cheat, don't play. Simple as that. Like, wow. What else? What happened? The other thing, though, was like Michel Gruner, who, in my opinion, should have done better than this guy, who should have beat this guy in the top 8, got a game lost because he took 4 minutes instead of 3 to side deck. What kind of bullshit is that? And on top of that, what happened? Oh yeah, and then on top of that, third, like on top of that, at one point in the duel, he tries to go summon Breaker, and the guy says okay, but then he starts rethinking it, and he asks the judge if he could still warning that, like, and the judge rules yes for some reason, because it's, even though it's already on the field and he's allowed to summon, like, the judge just made a lot of terrible calls, and one guy suggested it was due to something Michel did the night before. I don't know, but I don't see any kind of justification regardless. It's, it's just how I see it, though. It's disappointing, though, because Michel went undefeated that day. I really expected him to at least make it to the top 4, but the fact that he didn't, it was really disappointing. But I mean, at least he did go undefeated. Galileo Deobaldia came in 3rd, which was definitely satisfying for me. The guy's proved himself really over the past 2 years. I think it's really impressive, the fact that he's won Worlds and he was able to back up. He wasn't just saying, he wasn't talking trash and being overconfident. He literally said, I'm very proud to do this, and I don't know if I could do this again, but I'm going to do my best regardless. I think that's a great attitude to have when it comes to this level of competition, because I think that really helped him get far. or as a result. Oh, so for those wondering though, some of the decks that were played, the top eight decks were revealed via the Dueling Days blog. The champion played Agents. The first runner-up played Junk Doppel. Galileo Diabaldia, who was the second runner-up, ran Junk Doppel, and the third runner-up ran Machina Gadgets. Top 8, Michel Gruner ran Junk Doppel. One player from Taiwan in the top 8 ran 6 SAMs. A player from South Korea in the top 8 played 6 SAMs. And a player from Singapore, who I'm assuming is the Singapore national champion, played Junk Doppel. So that kind of tells you. As for the Americans, if anyone's curious, this was definitely surprising for me, from my eyes. Thomas Mack played Agents, as did William Pettigo, which is kind of funny given that those guys were the guys who came closest to topping. What else? Oh, right, Joseph Bogley, I don't know how you pronounce that, also played, he played Junk Doppel. He was the only player to play Junk Doppel, which was interesting. I guess I just kind of expected more of them to play Plants, but that's just me. Hans Salguero also he ran TGs once again, I guess because he found success with the deck the first time. But to be honest, I just didn't think it would be as good here. It can't create the same advantage in the OCG that it can create in the TCG. So I didn't have very high hopes for it. I honestly thought he was going to play a different deck. I mean, whatever works for him, but I think the fact that he came in X3 is like, kind of tells you. I don't know. More importantly, though, it's just like one thing I failed to mention before is it seemed like a lot of the American players were in tight spots. Like they didn't do so well because they had to keep facing each other, which I noticed a bunch of times throughout the pairings. So rather unfortunate, but stuff happens. But some people think it was like intentional. I don't know. Oh, and but the last American player I have not talked about, Justin Womack. To my shock and utter dismay, he ran Empty Jar. Empty Jar. I don't even want. I don't know. It's like I really don't know like what to think right now. Like I'm just really shocked. It was just really weird to me. I just kept thinking how it's really weird that this. I found it really weird that this deck was what happened? Yeah. I just found it really odd that he chose to run that deck. But then again, this guy did make it as far as he did with Malefic Skill Drain, which was interesting to say the least. I mean, I was just I was definitely surprised that no one expected this kind of deck to be run at this event. Even if it's random, I don't know. I just don't see it to be so good. So yeah, I wasn't expecting him to play it, but whatever. It is what it is. But I just think like most importantly, I feel like it's not like it doesn't make him a bad player regardless of the odd deck choice that he made. But I don't know, it's still weird, very weird thinking about it, just the idea of someone playing that deck at Worlds. Other decks that were played were pretty straightforward though, because like it was basically Junk Doppel, 6 SAMs, Agents, and a bunch of different rogue decks that were played, including a TG Plant deck and Worms. So, and Disaster Dragon was another example. So yeah, a bunch of different decks. I think a lot of people though are satisfied with the results of this event though, simply because the better players won out in the end. But even so, I still feel like the American players were equally deserving regardless, especially because they definitely had to work harder in order to make it as far as they did. No offense to the OCG players, but I mean the events we have to play to make it there are much larger than the ones they have to play. So as far as I see it, that really makes a difference. All right, so let's talk about the next format a little bit. What is going on with that? Well, obviously, Lightsworn is starting to gain a lot of popularity because, well, it's Lightsworn. They're gonna have 3 JDs and the Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. I mean, it's pretty absurd right now. However, I don't think even with the priority, I still don't think they're gonna be the best deck, and um, I also think that especially when we don't have priority anymore, the deck's not going to be as good, and it's just going to stay tier 1. It's not going to be tier 0 like some people are saying, because, well, it's not. I don't see why it would be, honestly. It's not that good from my perspective, but still, it's still worth playing, obviously. But the deck suffers from some of the same issues that it's always suffered from, especially including Twilight. One, the fact that the deck runs little to no traps, which means its only real defense is cards like Effect Veiler and Necrogardna. But even so, those Effect Veiler doesn't stop all that much in a sense. It stops some plays, but if they try to explode, it may not necessarily do anything depending on what they're playing. The deck is very good at coming back from almost any situation, but it still suffers from those same consistency issues. They could still get cloggy hands, and they can still have hands where they need to get rid of, where they don't have any form of milling, and that proves to be problematic for them. I definitely feel like that really hurts the deck in a sense, because I feel like the deck needs to be able to needs to have consistent ways of milling, but doesn't seem so consistent in a sense. I feel like the deck is still gonna, they're still gonna have those offhands. Having 3 JD and 3 Blackluster Soldier just increases the shenanigans. It doesn't make the deck more consistent though by any stretch. And they still only have 1 charge and 1 Lumina, so that's also gonna make sure that the deck is still kind of, just somewhat good. I mean, players will see what they're going to do, but they're not, again, most people I've talked to, they're not really running any traps except for maybe a Beckoning Light, Beckoning Light. So, yeah, and like, aside from that, you just got to be able to kill them in 1 turn, and that's pretty much it. I know in a way that's easier said than done, but I'm just saying it's like that's kind of the best way of handling it. I mean, this kind of just goes back to my gripe with the ban list. JD at 3 isn't the worst thing ever, but there's no reason why they should have put it up to 3, even with no priority ruling. Blackluster Soldier makes more sense in a sense, because you could just put it to 1, and as broken as it is, you can still have better ways of dealing with it. But you can't say the same thing with JD. JD is broken at 3 because you just spam JD after JD. It's very annoying, especially when they go Beckoning Light and bring back and they can just go for 3 JD and summon them all. It's like, that's game right there. OTK. Seriously. Okay, not too much griping. So, but in terms of the regional this weekend, I am going to be playing a deck that I'm going to be playing Elemental Heroes, but I'm going to be playing a weird variant of it, sort of. Not too weird, but it's going to be my own take on it. Not very unique, but I consider it to be sort of next-gen heroes to some degree. It is going to be taking advantage of the fact that we have a lot of new hero support since last time, because now we have Nova Master, and also I managed to, well, I want to show you guys quickly. When I was at my locals yesterday, I made top 8, and I managed to get 2 very nice pulls out of my out of the packs I opened. I got an Ultra Nova Master. Now I have 2, shockingly. And Vision Hero Adoration. This card is interesting. Not a card I would necessarily. I'm not sure if I'm definitely going to run it, but if I have the space, I'm probably going to put it in, just because it has a pretty cool effect to it, where you can reduce the attack of your opponent's monster when you by an amount equal to an elemental hero you have on your side of the field. This is kind of an iffy card, though, because it requires 2 heroes, but it's great in a sense because you can use any 2 heroes for it. The only problem is it's like my deck doesn't run that many heroes, so I don't know how effective this would be, but if I have the room in my extra deck, I'm probably going to play it, just because. And either way, it's still like a $20 secret right now, so I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, I will make a deck list. Some of the cards, though, I'm using are borrowed, so I won't be able to, like, I may not necessarily be able to profile the deck with everything, so what I may do is I might profile the deck while I'm there, depending on how I do. I'm not very that confident, but I will say the reason I'm glad I'm running this deck as opposed to Tengu, because even though I could have theoretically borrowed tour guides for Tengu, I still don't want to run it. I don't like how broken Tengu is. I don't like how broken tour guide is. I don't want to play the mirror match all day, and my side deck is ready to deal with both of them easily. So the way I see it, I am just kind of going to roll with it. It's pretty straightforward. I'm basically ready for all the big matchups. I think that was part of the reason I did well yesterday, but I don't know. I'm hoping I can keep that that going tomorrow as well. But today's my day off from Yu-Gi-Oh though, and I'm just gonna clear my head and make sure I'm ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow it's like I have my invite, so now my goal is to top. We will see what happens though. So before I get this video to go on any longer, I'm just gonna say to all of you guys who are going to a regionals this weekend, I wish you good luck, and let's just see what happens, guys. So this is JR Juggernaut 1 signing out. Peace.